Drums, bugles, and banjos are different types of music played by soldiers at different settings. But the trigger of the gun is pulled at the battlefront. It is a different music altogether. The front line of battle are eerily quiet. Fighting men and women keep ears to the ground and ensure that the music from the barrel of the guns are not heard. But it is not always that the gun music are quietened, but when the triggers are pulled, a price is usually paid. Nigerian soldiers who fought in the First and Second World Wars made supreme sacrifices to maintain world peace. Now, many died in the Nigerian Civil War. Others lost limbs or had their lives hanging in the balance. Their widows, children, and loved ones are left to mourn them and bear the burden of life's difficulties and hardship. Now, it is to this group of people that January the 15th or Armed Forces Remembrance Day is dedicated. On this year's occasion, Weekend File Tonight joins forces with the military to remember not only those fallen heroes, but also those they left behind. My guest tonight is General Lucky Irabo, Chief of Defense Staff. We also have reports from zones to drive the conversation. I am Jummai Yusuf. Thanks for joining me. First, the news. Determined to improve electricity supply as well as address challenges in the power sector, the federal government is counting on the expertise of a task force constituted by the Minister of Power to come up with workable solutions. Prelude to submitting its findings, the committee has inspected the two electricity distribution companies in Lagos. Musa Tuelat tells us more.
Of the priority areas of the task force led by the Managing Director, Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency (NEMSA), Aliu Tahir, is to ensure electricity is stable, safe, and reliable. So, the distribution companies were made to present their health and safety models for assessment.
We start from the safety manual, so we do the safety manual and then some of our observations so that manual can be improved.
The task force then took an on-the-spot assessment of the transmission injection substations to ascertain the capacity of the 33 kV feeder by feeder to support the downstream loads of the distribution networks. The task force also has the mandate to check if the feeder lines effectively deliver safe and stable electricity to the injection substations. It was discovered that none of the two power distribution companies complied and showed willingness to subject their electrical installations to testing and certification with NEMSA.
We are not here to find faults, but to help by working together to solve the problems of the power sector. This code is presented with findings and also the requested to rectify some of the identified defects.
The power distribution companies were urged to cooperate with NEMSA task force to stamp out inflow of substandard electrical materials so that electrical accidents are reduced in their franchise areas. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Talking politics, economic transformation of Nigeria to productive rather than consuming nation is one of the areas the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi is promising to focus on if elected the next president of Nigeria. This was at the party's presidential campaign rally held in Akure, Ondo State capital. Doris Olomko reports.
Despite the long wait, supporters of Labour Party's presidential candidate were in high spirits as they welcomed the campaign train to Abuja. Party faithful and loyalists are optimistic that Peter Obi-led government in Nigeria will guarantee security of all Nigerians irrespective of where they come from.
I assure you, if Obi emerge as the candidate of Nigeria, I'm assuring you, the Nigeria will change.
We have been tested, we have been trusted, and we, the youth, says we drop our weight, we put chest on Peter Obi.
The presidential hopeful Peter Obi said, the time to build a Nigeria which all will be proud of is now.
Yes. 4 years will be 4 years. Yes. No more stress. We will support small business. Yeah. Yeah. Sure that Nigerians, every Nigerian will be proud to change the Nigeria.
He also promised to rescue Nigeria by fighting corruption to stand still. In Akure, Boris Olumoko, NTA News.
Presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has presented his economic blueprint before members of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, a private sector think tank. At the meeting tagged Presidential Dialogue, Asiwaju Tinubu said if elected as president in the February presidential election, he would ensure that petroleum subsidy is removed and the money recovered from the scheme would be plunged into infrastructure provision, adding that government incurring budget deficit is not an idea if the funds are judiciously spent. Asiwaju Tinubu says provision of security would be paramount under his administration, adding that he would partner the private sector in the achievement of these goals. Presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, says if he is elected in next month's presidential election, he will address the impasse surrounding the completion and operation of Ajaokuta Steel Complex to create jobs directly for the teeming population of the country. Atiku says he will open borders for businesses and trade to pick up again. He was addressing supporters at the Conference Stadium in Lokoja, Kogi State. Onoto Yakubu reports.
It is down to a few weeks to the big day, February 25th. PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar is making his first outing in 2023 to canvass for votes. On arrival at the Conference Stadium, Lokoja, national and state party stalwarts, including senatorial candidates in the state, keep the ball rolling.
Government to be created, to be economy uprooted, to be reaching the next. And if only Atiku by the grace of God, that man cannot the affairs of Nigeria come May 2023. Education. Once. If the man will take up the program we have been going through for the past 8 years.
Afterwards, PDP National Chairman Senator Ayu received thousands of the campees into the party's fold, led by immediate past Deputy Governor Simon Achuba, immediate past Speaker of the State House of Assembly Ahmad Imam, and former Chairman of Okene Local Government Yahaya Karaku, amongst others. Atiku Abubakar, accompanied by his running mate, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, said for Kogi to find its feet for economic rebirth, actualizing the inland seaport and addressing other infrastructural needs must be made priority.
We will give you jobs. If we don't give you jobs, we will give you businesses to do. You know, I have promised that I will set aside $10 billion to empower our young men and women so that they can build their own businesses and have a comfortable life. You must stand and defend your votes because we know that we will rule of the people. We are going to deliver Nigeria once again.
The PDP stakeholders enjoined the supporters to utilize the window of opportunity provided by INEC to collect their PVCs to vote in the elections next month. From Lokoja, Kogi State, Onoto Yakubu, NTA News.
Still talking politics, the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, has urged party members and supporters to preserve their permanent voters' cards, being the only tool for electing leaders in the forthcoming general elections. He was speaking during the party's Northwest presidential campaign rally in Kaduna. Muhammad Ali reports.
Kaduna, the melting pot of northern Nigerian politics and zonal headquarters of the NNPP, was a stage for the grand presidential campaign of the NNPP after Bauchi had hosted for the Northeast Zone. The party says the challenges confronting the country do not appear to be going away in spite of efforts by the successive governments. The NNPP presidential candidate put himself forward to surmount all obstacles on the way to development, peace and security if elected. Flags were presented to the governorship candidates of Kano, Kaduna, Jigawa, Katsina, Zamfara, Sokoto and Kebbi states at the event. From Kaduna, Muhammad Ali, NTA News.
Bauchi State governorship candidate on the platform of the All Progressives Congress and immediate past chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, has presented his blueprint to the public. The document, which explains the determination of the candidate to a renewed Bauchi State, was unveiled at a fundraising put together by friends and associates. Abubakar Akwanga reports.
The governorship of Bauchi State.
Less talks and more actions dominated the space as the task of delivering Sadiq Baba Abubakar to the people of Bauchi State will not be daunting considering his track records. But this League of Like-Minds believe that the process of producing a result-oriented leadership will require resources, especially when the incumbent is from the opposition fold.
The only thing that the people of Bauchi can do unto themselves is to vote and vote massively. Vote without exception, Sadiq Abubakar. Vote here and there, if you do that, we will give you what you have about it while you return around. Bauchi government have oil. To protect your oil, you have the right person to protect when you elect Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar. It's very fundamental.
You have the social and economic dimensions of security, which has to do with all these issues. And opportunities for people to go to school, opportunities for people to have access to good health, opportunities for people to go into agricultural production. And once we do that, I can assure you that the narratives in Bauchi will change.
The candidate appreciates the level of support from well-meaning Nigerians and promised not to let them down, and assured the people of Bauchi State that the appeal of tourism will rise again. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Political campaigns for candidates in the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Bauchi State have commenced. Mahmoud Mohammed reports that the party's governorship candidate campaign team were in Gamawa and Zaki local government areas.
Incumbent and the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Bauchi State, Bala Muhammad, kickstarts the process for his re-election as governor for a second time. His supporters are out in their numbers at the Gamawa Township Square, and amongst them are party stalwarts who with and other candidates vying for different positions under the platform of the PDP. As the ruling party in Bauchi State, their mission is to consolidate on the developmental projects already put in place, as explained by Governor Bala Muhammad. In Zaki, Governor Bala Muhammad and his campaign team were greeted by a large number of party members and supporters, where he highlighted his achievements and equally laid out what he intends to do if re-elected. Party flags were presented to candidates vying for different positions in the area. In Bauchi, Muhammad, NTA News.
Now let's bring you up to speed with other news. NTA news managers are expressing optimism of surpassing previous election coverages across the country during the 2023 general elections with adoption of digital technology and professionalism. This is following knowledge gained at the NTA News Management and Strategic Conference with the theme 2023 elections keeping up with digital broadcasting. Joseph Osen reports.
Little stretches to relax the muscles and move on with the technical section. It has been 2 days of knowledge-driven exercise with the upcoming general elections on everyone's mind. Dishing out timely, accurate and useful information from all fronts of election grounds is the target, and this will come with the adoption of digital technology and capacity of personnel.
You can run a full-fledged production with your mobile devices. The laptop or desktop PC is also connected to the local router. With the right software, the NDI software or app for the phone, and then software for the laptop, I can pick all of the camera sources on the studio floor.
As usual, a wave of fake news and misinformation may serve as distraction, and indeed the most reliable television network must be on its toe to fast-check and correct the wrong before any damage is done.
What we have to do as NTA is first do this fact-checking training in every NTA station. You might take it step by step.
Where there are no sports desks, endeavor to get one to be functional.
And all is set to hit the ground running.
You are taking this back to your various destinations and implement what you have seen and what you have heard. That is the whole idea behind this.
So essentially it was to bring people up to speed with latest developments in the broadcasting industry, how we can utilize effectively the manpower, the equipment that we have to get better results.
From my zone, it is the secessionist issue, which is not different from the insurgency in some other zone. And as professionals, we have deliberated on that, and we will remain the professionals that we are.
95% of these intern displaced persons were returned back to their respective local government areas. With this relative peace in Borno, we will cover all these resettled communities.
With equipment on ground, knowledge acquired, and widest outreach in Africa, the world is assured by gains of this conference of top-notch coverage come 2023 polls. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
Indeed, knowledge like this is what makes NTA tick. Now, the existing unity among the people of the country was amplified in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, as Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and eminent personalities from across the country attended the wedding fatia of the daughter of the Chewu of Borno and son of the Emir of Lafia. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The new couple are Aisha, daughter of Abubakar Ibn Umar, Garwai El-Kameni, Sheikh of Borno, and Umar Farouk, son of the Emir of Lafia and former Justice of the Supreme Court, Sibi Bagi. Governor Babagana Zulum stands as the wali of Aisha, while Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule acts as the wali of Umar. More than 100 traditional rulers from across the country attended the wedding fatia, and as observed by some of them, this signifies the grand unity which exists among the people of the country.
One of advise that both of them will be present with each other so that they can live in a harmonious manner. And wishing them a blessed marital life.
The first one is patience with one another. Understand yourselves and understand which way of mind the mind of each of the partner is going, and to learn to respect each other's views.
But there we all should congratulate the couple and advise them to live in peace and sacrifice to one another. This is a day useful in their lives, and a day that all of us will help to pray for them so they have a blissful and peaceful married life.
We'll take a break. More news when we return. Do stay.
It's another for Nigeria. All better days are coming. Better days that give some job and strength.
It's a new dawn in Nigeria. Hope beckons on our people. The silver lining dots the skies. The firmament portents a bright future as the people of Nigeria bloom to vote a man whom they have come to trust for the realization of their aspirations for a better Nigeria. That is, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. He has been tested. He can be trusted. Vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as President of Nigeria 2023. Vote Kashim Shettima as Vice President. Vote APC. Surely with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the smiles are returning. Are close to home.
Registration for UTME into Nigerian tertiary institutions begins January 14th to 14th February 2023.
Candidates must check their eligibility before commencing registration, scanning the QR code provided by JAM for the e-brochure and e-syllabus.
Each candidate must create a profile using only one phone number.
Simply send your NIN by SMS to either 55019 or 66019. A profile code of 10 characters is received by the candidate to purchase the UTME to DEEP. Candidates can buy the e-prints from the banks or the vending agents through their e-wallets. Registration fee, inclusive of all relevant charges, is 6,700 naira with mock exam or 5,700 naira without mock exam. Candidates are not to pay any other fee at the CBT center, as the fee stated is consolidated. Direct entry registration costs 4,700 naira and starts 20th February to 20th April 2023. JAM, enhancing academic excellence.
My name is Atiku Abubakar. The year 2023 is a defining moment for our great country, Nigeria. I am inspired by the compelling need to provide leadership that will propel Nigeria to greater heights, to overcome our challenges, and together as one recover and rebuild a united, strong, and prosperous Nigeria. Do not despair. Hope is in the horizon. PDP shall make things right again. On behalf of myself, my family, and our great party, the PDP, I urge you to support our noble cause to recover and rebuild Nigeria for a prosperous 2023 and beyond. A happy, prosperous new year to you all.
As one, we can get it done.
We are committed to the unity of our great country, Nigeria.
Let us support our armed forces. Let us stand together with them. Let us stand for them.
Our symbol of unity,
empowered men and women of the armed forces
on land, air, and sea,
who have continuously put their life on the line, protecting our lives, humanity, and nation.
Let us join them and stick together as one, irrespective of our misunderstanding, be it political, cultural, or ideological.
Our uniqueness is our oneness, our strength,
our diversity.
Let us stand by, stand with, and support our armed forces to keep this nation together.
Nigeria is my own. Nigeria is your own.
Nigeria is our own.
This is wishing the Nigerian Armed Forces a happy Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Our fallen heroes, members of the Armed Forces, who gave up their lives for us to live today. The great heroes. Our armed forces, our shield on land, our lifebuoy at sea, and our covering in the air. For the love of country, they invest their skills, time, energy, and sometimes their lives. They deserve to be celebrated.
The Army, Navy, and Air Force.
Our beloved officers and men who stay awake that need that sleep. Appreciate their efforts by the Armed Forces emblem. Proudly adorn yourself with it as we support the widows and orphans left behind. Please join us on the 2023 edition of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day 1 event on January 15, 2023, 8:30 a.m. We are willing, able and ready to march all work together because victory comes from God alone. Muhammad Buhari, GCFR, President Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Grand Patron, Nigerian Legion, salute your gallantry and your thoughts.
You're watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTA, and now it's time for the discussion segment, but we'll take some reports to back up the conversation. As Nigeria celebrates the Armed Forces and Remembrance Day, defense correspondent Ismail Musa traces the origin of the annual ritual, its significance and ongoing efforts by the military to secure the nation.
As wives of gallant military personnel, now widows of the nation, a rather emotion-laden moment at the last year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration in Abuja as they lay wreath in memory and honor of military and other security personnel that paid the supreme sacrifice in the cause of protecting Nigeria and Nigerians.
Seeing the pictures of these young heroes who paid the supreme sacrifice in their prime, it made the hearts bleed. They forgot about their today and laid down their lives for this nation. It bleeds my heart as a mother and as a wife.
The annual event, formerly Remembrance Day, was first held on the 11th November 1919 throughout the Commonwealth nations to commemorate the Armistice Agreement that ended the First World War. It was later domesticated and shifted to 15 January to commemorate servicemen of the Nigerian Armed Forces, veterans of the First and Second World Wars, and to honor security personnel that lost their lives during the Civil War.
Participated in many operations like Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Yugoslavia. So we God spare our life, so we thank God for all His infinite mercy.
In recognition of the contributions of retired Armed Forces personnel, a dedicated department was created at the Ministry of Defense, while 134.7 billion naira was recently released for the payment of the garment allowance of the military veterans.
Since this government came into office, the government has never delayed the payment of their pensions, and those who are retiring, their benefits are paid to them immediately as they are retiring.
In keeping the aspirations of the nation's fallen heroes alive and to further secure Nigeria, the armed forces are conducting different internal security operations in most of the geopolitical zones. To ensure the success of these operations, the federal government procured several arms and platforms for the Nigerian military. These include more resistance ambush-protected vehicles to reduce improvised explosive device-related casualties, a major threat to the ongoing counter-insurgency operations.
We will say a very big thank you to the Nigerian Army. They have tried hard, and we are urging them and encouraging them to keep more effort.
President Muhammad Buhari have never relented. They have never till we have asked that he have not provided or make effort to provide. So it's in that way that we have gotten everything we are getting, and we are still receiving and inducting a lot of equipment in the theaters, and that account to a great extent also for the successes we are recording across the theaters of operation.
Every 15th January is a symbol of remembrance and a beacon of hope for a peaceful future, with unspoken message to the nation's fallen heroes that their sacrifice was a noble cause. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
While security experts say the outcome of any war depends largely on the strength and capacity of the air power deployed, but the success of the air power hinges on the wider evolutionary development of the Air Force as the youngest arm of the Nigerian military. The Nigerian Air Force has been involved in counterinsurgency and peacekeeping operations in the country. Naja'atu Tijani takes a look at the evolutionary development of the Nigerian air power.
Willing, able and ready since 1964, the Air Wing of the Armed Forces of Nigeria has been serving the nation first as a means of achieving a full complement of the military defense system of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, both in the air and on ground, to defend Nigeria from external aggression. the Nigerian Air Force has evolved into a formidable fighting force since 1962.
We have continued to accord high priority to purposeful training as a major tool for human capacity development. This is based on the premise that for the Nigerian Air Force to function efficiently, both as a highly technical service and as a fighting force for the effective defense of Nigeria's territorial integrity, it must have the right numerical strength and, more importantly, the right quality of manpower in all relevant competencies.
While the Nigerian Air Force has evolved in close to 60 years of existence, its functional roles have largely remained the same. From a fighting force with limited equipment and manpower, the NAF in its infancy still played a role in the Civil War, and as the war progressed, some fighter aircraft such as the MiG 15 and 17 were required to help bring the war to a speedy end. Having been led by different indigenous air chiefs, each with his own innovation, the acquisition of air platforms and other hardware has continued to reposition the NAF as a leader in both air and ground operations.
Happily enough, I'm sure, Mr. President, having taken stock of your contribution, will not have regretted every support he has given to this service in the discharge of his constitutional responsibility.
New platforms are also expected in the first quarter of 2023, and with Armed Forces Remembrance Day and the last anniversary around the corner, more is expected from this force, which has been working synergistically with other forces to continue keeping the peace in Nigeria. Najaa Tutijani, NTA News.
And joining me in the studio to have a conversation on the Armed Forces Remembrance Day is the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo. You're welcome to Weekend Fire.
Thank you very much, Joy.
Tomorrow is going to be quite a busy day.
Absolutely.
Yes, can you shed more light, on the Armed Forces Remembrance Day? Is it all about servicemen who died in the line of duty, or every other soldier and serviceman at the war front is also inclusive into the celebration?
Thank you very much for having me, and to also appreciate Nigerians for the support they've given to the armed forces, and in particular to the government for indeed declaring the 15th of January of every year as the Armed Forces and Remembrance Day celebration. So it's something of joy to us, very motivating.
So
on the question that you asked,
yes,
the celebration is for everyone. But of course, we put in context those who have served and who are now veterans, and more importantly, the heroes amongst them, those who have gone to great beyond in the cause of the service of our nation. But of course, the ones that are serving, like myself and all the officers and soldiers, personnel of the armed forces, are also being remembered. That's the reason why the day is called the Armed Forces and Remembrance Day celebration. That will give greater focus on those who have retired and are now veterans.
Retired but not tired.
Not tired, certainly.
Okay, how impactful has the decades of celebration of the armed forces been, in line with the objectives of the celebration itself?
Well, it's been quite impactful in the sense that to know that a nation dedicated a day to remember those who served as members of the armed forces and those who are still serving the nation as members of the armed forces is something that is quite motivating. It's a morale booster, I must say. And that's the reason why, we have also tried to have, a few activities to surround the climax, with the climax being the 15th, but the other activities, that we have now decided to, add to it. One of which, of course, is, the golf tournament, which was organized 2 days ago up to yesterday. And then today, of course, we had a paintball festival, which, of course, was in partnership with one of our partners, Forest Hunters Association. So I'm saying that the motivation that we've been able to receive and that also understanding, especially for the veterans, understanding that the nation is a standstill because of them is something that is quite motivating. And for this year in particular, where those who retired before 2017, where some of the administrative documents were reviewed to include what we call security debarment allowance, which hitherto catered for those who retired from 2017 to date. But of course, because of the magnanimity of Mr. President, that has been reviewed, and then now involves those who retired prior to 2017, which of course was mentioned in the intro, which was played. And I think it's quite gratifying to note that releases have been made, part releases have been made, not the entire 134 billion as was reported, no, but a part of it, which the veterans themselves have been able to receive the first tranche of it. So which is quite gratifying for me. The 2023 Armed Forces and Remembrance Day celebration is, of course, remains the best amongst the several that we've had in the past.
Okay, apart from all these things you've read, we hear that there's a dedicated department for military veterans in the Ministry of Defense, and apart from that, what is the DHQ adapting to monitor and ensure enhanced welfare for those veterans and the families of those who paid the supreme price?
Well, first and foremost, you're right. There is a directorate, not a department, a directorate actually.
Okay.
And I have a director, a serving military officer, of the rank of Major General, who is the Director of Veteran Affairs Division. Now, what he does is to keep record of the veterans, and of course liaises with the Military Pensions Board, who is responsible for, that is, the establishment that is responsible for the payment of all the entitlements of all our veterans. But of course, because there are innovations, there are day-to-day administrative issues that attend to our veterans, what also we may need to learn from them, what kind of lessons perhaps they need to bring into our current day administrative issues and even operations, it becomes the responsibility of the Director of Veteran Affairs to do that liaison and also organize some form of seminars and symposia to be able to keep them also abreast with the current happenings within the armed forces. So he's quite loaded with a whole lot of issues. And of course, if there are complaints from the veterans, of course, it's his responsibility to bring it to the attention of the hierarchy of the military, especially from the minister down to myself and of course to the services. Areas that require our attention, areas that we need to note, areas that we need to incorporate some of their suggestions into our current work processes. So these, amongst other issues, are what the division in the Veteran Affairs Division, what it does.
Indeed, I will take a break now, but when we return, our conversation will continue on the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. You're watching Weekend 5.
Good morning.
Good morning. Why is your sun shining like this?
Can't you see that Hamatan season is here? We need to protect our children from this dry weather.
What about the invisible germs?
Invisible germs?
During Hamatan, it's not enough to only protect your skin. You also need protection from these invisible germs. To protect our families, we use Dettol.
Hamatan season brings a lot of germs, but Dettol with Germ Defense gives protection from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol sure.
Our country one better. Our country one better. We do want for us. For a better Nigeria, good life, people, are you want to? Are you need people of Nigeria, they believe for the better one shall for the country, so we need to put Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, the next president of Nigeria. Our people don't look the matter well, only Bola Tinubu don't do what everybody can see. You get the experience, where you go fit use, take make our country better, make life sweet for we and our picking them. Bola Tinubu don't get a better plan to test that work for the youth, better school, the security of lives and property, unity and peace of all the country people of Nigeria. But these and many other parties where in don't vote lies, it could make we all vote Bola Tinubu president of Nigeria. Shetima as vice president. You see, the party ratio grooming.
If you want to become something, become a
time again. Why be patient? If you must worry, then worry about learning. Why worry about germs? When you come home, then tales and stories. Why bring in germs?
Shield your family from germs. Bring Dettol is a part of every household bucket, and you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
My people, me na Emeka, Emeku's scammers. Let me get all this again. I didn't learn my lesson. Somebody come buy motor for my hand, carry big money, come give me. Now when they get bust, then my eye open. I know say that 419 will be. Now when you let you see Babam, now they come bad me too. Now he make me the one you, all of me, I want to do business like me. When they carry big money, when I go sometimes I go carry transfer, carry bring back. They could shine in my eye because a special control unit against money laundering when they call school. They don't want to say if the money pass 5 million naira for individual, no collect them. If you pass 10 million naira for company, no collect them. Can I go your bank? If you don't do one like that, 250,000 naira for every day when this offense happen. Or they will suspend your license, or they will shut down for your hand. You talk say, I know 1 year.
This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission? Yes, but how? What's your question? How do you keep the toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I have been using it for years.
The regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes. To disinfect the toilet, you need Perfect 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains removing sticker formula, settles on stains, and gives 10 times better cleaning.
Wow! Now I've got these chemicals.
Really? Yeah. The next out is yours.
Does your toothpaste give you complete fresh protection? New Cleanse Up Toothpaste Complete Fresh Protection takes care of your 5 important oral care needs. It gives you strong teeth, prevents tooth holes, cleans deeply, fights bacteria, and gives you fresh breath. Complete fresh protection from Cleanse Up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Why is your sun shining like this? Can't you see that Harmattan season is here? We need to protect our children from this dry weather.
What about the invisible germs?
Invisible germs?
During Harmattan, it's not enough to only protect your skin. You also need protection from these invisible germs. To protect our families, we use Dettol.
Harmattan season brings a lot of germs, but Dettol with germ defense gives protection from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol sure.
You're welcome back. As Nigeria prepares to mark this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day, members of the Nigerian Legion, Borno State Council, are retired but not tired, as they can be described as double heroes of our time for their contributions to the counter-insurgency operations. The veterans are worried about the non-payment of some of their entitlements, which are essential for the improvement of quality of their lives. Maimuna Garba takes a look at the plight of veterans in Borno State.
It's so injured. This is a broken leg. In the close quarter battle, no any person. No any help from my pension.
These are some veterans who fought gallantly to unite Nigeria as one indivisible country, during which some paid the supreme price, while those alive have grown old and need consistent assistance, especially those injured in the line of duty. Some veterans, however, acknowledge the fact that they are receiving their pensions regularly.
Security Development Department allows. What they're supposed to pay us, they didn't pay us this time around. They pay some people just receive 23,000, 30,000, 40,000, and which is not good. Some people get up to $1 million, that's 79 NS. Those who left army before, just yesterday, I can say. Those who didn't fight war. But we, the 63 areas who fight war, especially civil war, they are neglected as too much about in this matter.
Considering the peculiar situation of Borno, the veterans are contributing to the fight against insurgency with intelligence reports and are synergizing with the military to restore peace. Borno state government has been rendering tremendous support to the veterans, widows and their orphans, as the military is also providing adequate medical care to wounded in action personnel, hence the expansion of 7 Division Hospital and construction of mega reference hospital in Maiduguri.
For the generations to come to always remember that people pay the supreme price for the peace they are enjoying.
Widows of fallen heroes appreciated Borno State government's unwavering assistance to them at their times of need.
What they will give us, they will call us after and share to the widows, but it is not enough.
For the veterans and their families, life goes on by any means. Let's give them a sense of belonging. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
And my guest is the Chief of Defense Staff. He's still sitting in the studio, General Lucky Irabo. You've heard from the reports from our correspondents across the country now, and you've been in the thick of the counterinsurgency in Nigeria. In view of the complex, nature of some of these current challenges in Nigeria, and the armed forces are conducting counterinsurgency, fighting banditry, kidnapping, and all that. So, can you tell us and give us an update, on the efforts to stem, these threats, which I believe is the yearning of all Nigerians and the fallen heroes themselves, going forward into the 2023 general elections?
Well, Jumai, let me thank you again, and to really appreciate the background report given by Memuna from Maiduguri, and to say that, of course, the Armed Forces and Remembrance Day celebration that we will be celebrating tomorrow, and all the activities that surround it are geared towards, appreciating them. So in that light, let me say that Nigeria without the armed forces is like gun without bullets. And so the commentaries from many of those respondents, in my view, allude to that saying. And so I will not cease from appreciating their services. But let me equally, correct a few of the impressions that have been given. I'll come to your question.
Yes,
I just thought it's necessary for me to, since we're speaking to the larger, Nigerian populace. The armed forces, by virtue of its administrative procedures, has, measures, that are in place to look after the welfare of not just the serving personnel, but equally the veterans, including the loved ones of the fallen ones. We have educational programs, scholarships meant for at least 4 of the children of the deceased veterans up to university level. So, of course, there are,
complaints still.
Of course, there are complaints because a few may not know the process. That's why we have also, from the lessons that we've learned, we've taken it, upon ourselves to periodically sensitize our personnel for them to, let their families, their NOKs, that is next of kin, and their family members to know what their entitlements are in the unexpected, event that we lose them, that any of us die. What is your entitlement? What should they be doing? Because if they don't do that,
there's a process.
Of course, there's a process. So it's necessary to let them know. But those who do not know, who for some reasons may not have gotten to know before the unfortunate incident, are the ones that we have now created desk that attends to those. But you also know that there are larger issues. When you are in your various villages and towns, from military barracks and all that, there are likely to be issues. So it is not because there is no dedicated plan, but of course it's a work in process. That's in progress. That's why we keep educating and then sensitizing those that are serving, and then equally go to different geopolitical zones to also listen to the claims, listen to the complaints, and then take measures to be able to redress them. So that essentially accounts for. On the issue of security development tolerance, I've already mentioned in my earlier representation. Now to your question, which is what we're doing to be able to stem the crisis. I have at various times indicated that across the country we have various operations that we conduct in conjunction with the police and other security agencies. And currently, of course, the Northeast operation is not something new to all of us. I mean, Operation Hadinkai, the precursor, of course, being Operation Lafia Dole. It's something that is well known to Nigerians, and I'm glad that currently, because there are almost no reports coming from Maiduguri, that tells you that peace has returned. And then, of course, in the Northwest, we have Operation Hadarindaji that looks at all the security challenges within the Northwest. And in North Central, there are series of different operations: Operation White Punch, Operation White Stroke, Operation Safe Haven, or looking at the peculiarities of parts of the North Central in that sense. And of course, in the Southeast, you have Operation Udoka, as well as other internal security operations. South side, of course, Operation Delta Safe, that looks at the peculiarity of the Niger Delta, a few insecurity problems, but largely things that have to do with the stealing of our crude oil and other criminalities. And then, of course, in the Southwest, we have Operation Awasi. So now, these are all the operations that we are conducting that has brought sufficient or substantial, peace to all the parts of the country. And every of our soldiers, every of our personnel who, of course, fall victim in terms of, fall casualty in any of these operations, of course, also benefit their next of kin and their their offsprings benefit from the welfare packages which I've just highlighted, amongst several others. So we are strengthening these operations, ensuring that whatever is left, the gaps that do exist are covered. And of course, as you mentioned, going forward towards the elections that is just less than 2 months away, in fact, it's actually next month, if you like, and then yes, early part of March. We believe that this is a duty that the police should be the lead. The police remain the lead.
So what kind of support will you render to the police?
We will give the police all the necessary support. In fact, the operations that we're conducting now is intended to create the security ambience for the safe conduct of the election. But in terms of the electoral duty itself, the military will be at the background, believing that the police, of course, because of the reinvigorated nature of the police, that they will be able to live up to the expectations of Nigerians. But of course, we remain at the background to give all the support. So we've made our contingencies. I've had meetings, not just with the service chiefs, but equally with the IGP, and then of course all the intelligence and security, heads, all in a way to look at how we can collectively bring our skills
and sustain the tempo itself.
Sustain the tempo in that regard. So,
okay, quickly before we go, what message do you have for the servicemen and women out there?
For servicemen and women out there, mine is to first of all appreciate them as their leader, as their commander, and to let them know that the commander-in-chief, who has given me the opportunity to superintend them, is also appreciative of all their services, and to let them know that that every effort to undertake operations and then make the sacrifices they're making is a worthy cause, because there's no way that as an individual that you make sacrifices that could take your life, that it will be a worthless cause. No, it is. And then for us as a nation, it is something that we believe that is worth dying for.
Indeed.
Because keeping Nigeria one and then as an entity is a worthy cause that I believe that it is not too much of a sacrifice if we have to pay this sacrifice.
And indeed, as Nigerians, our heart breaks every time we hear of the loss of valuable lives in the insurgency case. Thank you so much, General Lucky Irabo, Chief of Defense Staff, for coming on Weekend File. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, Jumai, and then to also appreciate Nigerians for this great opportunity. It's been a wonderful experience, being of service to Nigerians.
Thank you so much. We'll take a break. When we return, more reports. Do stay.
If you want to become something, become a child again. Why be patient? If you must worry, then worry about winning. Why worry about germs? When you come home, bring tales and stories. Why bring in germs?
Shield your families from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
A body has been found. Possibly a child. I think I have something.
Are you thinking about ritual murder?
Stop!
Hold on, that's the council's name. So what do we know about this so-called senior court member?
It appears their real strength lies in the members now in government, judiciary, business, and the police.
Now this is getting interesting.
Good morning.
Good morning. Why is your sun shining like this?
Can't you see that Harmattan season is here? We need to protect our children from this dry weather.
What about the invisible germs?
Invisible germs?
During Harmattan, it's not enough to only protect your skin. You also need protection from these invisible germs. To protect our families, we use Dettol.
Harmattan season brings a lot of germs, but Dettol with Germ Defense gives protection from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol sure.
Sang the popular hit song Bumper.
One they call. Oh, do you know with GoTV you can enjoy the best of local and international shows? That's thing. Really? Makes sense. Really? Open the door. Wait, my food.
Yes. Wait. Pay for any package this festive and go see the great to a higher package. Wow.
For this festive season, everybody go shine well because na bumper time we dey. Renew your subscription and get upgraded to a higher package. Dial star 288 hash to enjoy. Na better entertainment wey sure pass. GoTV, love it.
You're welcome back. Reports just reaching us says the administrative block of the Kano State Police Command in Bompai has been razed by fire. Although NTA crew was denied entry when the fire was raging, reports indicate that it was brought under control with combined efforts of the Kano State Fire Service. Public Relations Officer of the command, SP Abdullahi Haruna Kiawa, confirmed that no casualty was recorded. And that's Weekend File. Thanks so much for watching. I am Jumbe Yusuf. Don't forget to join NTA in the fight against rape and rapists, and be safe.